Yeah. Listen, I'll just start with this. Listen, Cornell's a really good team. We saw that on film, and they play a unique style from the standpoint of their spacing, the amount of guys that can shoot, and their cutting, their passing. On a quick turnaround, or quick, really, not a lot of time to prepare. I was really proud of how our guys made some adjustments throughout the game to ultimately get the win. So, any questions? Yeah.
Jake, Bruce didn't play the final 10 minutes. Is he okay? And how is that navigating without Bruce on the floor?
Well, it's hard to navigate without Bruce on the floor. He's a special player, but sprained his ankle, and he'll be evaluated, as soon as we can. So.
In the first half, what was it that was so challenging about their offense? A lot of backdoor cuts, easy success. It felt like there early they had a 10-point lead. And what kind of adjustments did you guys make defensively?
Yeah, against them you have to change your help and your gaps, because if you get away from your man to protect what will be a normal gap, they're so good at cutting. So that was a big adjustment, because it's something we've gotten better at and focused on over time, and we practiced for a day really and a shoot around to try to make that adjustment. As the game went on and got started, we reverted back to kind of what we've done really well. This game, that opened up some lanes for them to cut, and our guys were able to adjust. Though I thought, throughout the game we got better at it, but that was a big difference. Just our help position.
I think one of the main difference makers in this game, when you look at just looking at the stat line for you guys, was rebounding, and that was a topic of conversation down the stretch, an area you felt the team needed to get better in, and had 8 guys, I think, at least 4 rebounds. So what did you see as in terms of the collective rebounding effort of the team?
I thought it was great, both sides of the ball. We were able to finish some plays, and we got on the offensive glass. It was really impressive. We felt that was an area we needed to be aggressive and assert ourselves in, was on the offensive glass. So obviously Felix set the tone with that, 7 offensive rebounds. But we held them to, I believe it was 0 offensive rebounds in the first half. They got a few there throughout the second half, but rebounding we knew was going to be really important, and we felt like it was an advantage for us. So I thought our guys stepped up.
In that final minute, there were a bunch of different guys making important plays down the stretch. Not just Jameson's 3, but Evans' pass, Evans finishing that play, Dale hitting a couple big free throws. But I guess, what was it like to see so many different guys come up with important plays in that final minute?
That's been the key the last now I think 5 weeks. Is we've talked about the depth of this team. There's a lot of great pieces, and they've really come together, and you're seeing it with the way they're sharing the ball and reading the game. So I'm not surprised, and I think it's part of the challenge, coaching them is figuring out maybe who has it, who's got the hot hand at the right time, and we have just so many unselfish guys who are capable of doing great things for us, so it's pretty natural.
Jake, you got a handful of programs, high major programs that could have played in the NIT that for one reason or another said we don't want to play in the NIT. How do you think this is going to benefit your guys, especially the guys that have eligibility that are going to be back, the freshmen and sophomores, to play in this kind of tournament? Like you said, a quick turnaround of the day to prepare. How is it going to benefit them in the long run?
Yeah, for a lot of the guys on this team, it's their first postseason experience, and proud of how we were able to get a win. I think that first game is so tough. It's certainly, we had big aspirations, especially towards the end of the season, of making the NCAA tournament. But our guys talked and felt like they wanted to pursue this postseason, and our guys played hard. This was a unique game. You saw their effort, you saw the toughness, you saw the togetherness. Our guys were locked in, and they were committed to giving all they had.
Do you teach, I guess, like composure and staying composed when Cornell has a guy that gets teed up, but it looked like he was kind of going at your guys after every big basket? None of your guys really snap back at him, and then in the end, you get the free throws because your guys stayed composed. Is that something that you have to kind of hammer home to not snap back, or is that something that some of your guys just have that maturity already?
There's a balance. We want to play with some toughness and aggressiveness, and throughout the flow of the game, there's some conversations that happen. But yeah, our guys, there's a maturity to this team. There's a poise required, specifically as the game tightens. And I thought I thought our guys showed great poise.
Yeah, Jake, yesterday you had probably the biggest moment of your career, coaching career, feeling elevated to head coach, and then a day later you have to prepare for a tough Cornell team. So what was that, I guess, sequence like for you the last 2 days? Just the adjustment period to you to just focus on something else instead of getting an elevated head coach.
Practice was the most normal part of the day. Yesterday was a really special day, and obviously I had a bunch of family here. We had so many former players here, and all of that meant so much to me. Buckeye Nation, it was really special, but I was happy to get to practice, to be able to just coach and prepare for a game where, you know, your season is on the line. But leading into that press conference and all the things before that, there was a lot of different emotions. Practice was the best part of the day, though.
Just there, we're on the left side.
Coach, I would characterize the way they played tonight as being a clever brand of basketball and totally apart from the rest of the Big Ten in that respect. Would you say the same thing about that, and can you compare them to anything you've seen thus far in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think they're well coached. You know, that's a great way to put it. They have great chemistry and a lot of skill. I think the closest team we would see in league may be a Nebraska, with just having, you know, a big that can shoot like theirs, and the space, the 5-out spacing, the cutting, the 3-point field goal attempts. Nebraska's probably the closest in the Big Ten to compare.
Jake Diebler.
Thank you.
I'm sure you looked up and saw the crowd, I guess before the game, the upper decks were closed off, but I guess down the stretch, how much of the crowd helped you guys out in the big loss or just down the stretch of the primary?
I thought Buckeye Nation, everybody here was great. This was a quick turnaround. There wasn't a lot of time to prepare and plan and, you know, all of those things. So really appreciative of everybody that came out. The energy in the building was awesome, and it helped. It helped us, you know, finish the game. And so thank you to everybody who showed up. You know, I didn't know what to expect, right? With such just a quick, from the time you find out who you're playing, when you're playing, to when you're actually playing the game, I thought the support was awesome.
Jake, you've had games that have come down to the last seconds when you've been coaching here. This is the first time you've been in a situation, game on the line, and you're in huddles that are late. Did your voice feel any different coaching a team through a situation where the game's up for grabs, it's the final minute, and if you lose, you go home? Did anything feel different when you were in any of those moments, knowing this was all firmly on your shoulders this time?
No, I think the reps that, you know, I've been able to get here over the last month have helped, and we've talked about staying aggressive no matter if you're up. We've been in situations this last month where we've been up 3, down 2, going into the last, you know, 4 minutes. So we're going to stay aggressive. We're going to play to win, and that's not going to change. So it didn't change because this was kind of a, you know, win or go home game. We stayed the course. We stuck with what's worked. We stuck with, you know, how we're going to be as a program moving forward. And listen, guys need to stay aggressive so they can be the ones to step up and make plays. That's what you saw. You saw like Jamison's 3 was big time. The read of the press break, and that's players doing that because they're playing aggressive with confidence, and they know that, you know, we believe in them.
And you talked about having to cope without Bruce, without Scotty as well. Do you have any update on his situation going forward, and how did that also stress some of your rotations and some of your lineups?
Yeah, it caused some adjustments certainly through the flow of the game. Scotty and I have been in contact today. We're thinking of him and praying for him and his family. And you know, I haven't talked to him since the game's been over yet, but I'm sure we'll touch base soon.
Kind of like Adam's question, did this feel any different for you? Not so much the team and the players, but, you know, 2 days ago you were one thing, now was there anything different? Did you feel more pressure? Did you know, now that you are the guy? And yeah, that.
No, not once the game started. I think leading into the game, it was a little bit different. a little different feeling, kind of the, you know, I tried to keep the routine that I've been doing before games, the exact same, but yeah, is it okay to admit with a little vulnerability that it felt, you know, maybe a little different? I think, but once the game started, it was back to doing what I love and you know, coaching guys and coaching hard and, you know, coaching with passion and energy, and we got a great group that, you know, makes this really fun.
You're
So I just leaned into that.
You're kind of learning on the job in some ways, and because of the small sample size. But does a game like this actually maybe help you? Because you've really got to coach versus maybe winning by 25 or 30. Maybe
Yeah.
when you look back on it.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure when there's time to kind of look back and reflect, we'll say like, oh yeah, that was a great experience. But in that moment, it's all about that moment, and that's what I've stuck with from the time I was asked to do this, and that wasn't going to change today, certainly.
And when did you find out their leading scorer was on crutches and not going to play?
Kind of about midway through warmups. Yeah, midway through warmups. The unique thing about this, we knew going into this game, they had like 8 different guys who could score double figures. They had great depth and versatility, so their system is they have good players certainly, but their system is really good, and they've got veterans who've been in it for a while. So I didn't feel like that was gonna, you know, I'm sure they would love to have him. He's a good player. We respected him and saw it on film, but they had guys step up, you know, just like we did at the end of the game without Bruce. But yeah, it was more for us. This game was less about personnel. It wasn't as much ISO. It's just that system they run, which was unique for us to see. But yeah, it was. We just kind of moved on quickly when we saw it wasn't out.
Finish off on the left, Patrick.
You talked about what the players could get out of playing this. What do you get out of coaching for another however many games here and kind of getting that experience before it really starts to change next year?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's been talked about like it's a great experience for me, but ultimately I love doing this, so that's the best part. Like I wish we could have games all year long. You know, I love it. So this was great for all of us, players, myself, staff, and I think that experience will continue to grow and build. But again, that's not what I'm thinking about or processing in the moment. It's instincts. It's relying on prep. It's staying in the moment, and I think that's been important.
It looks like Nick may have moved up a seat, or however you want to phrase that. What did he bring, and what did you think of him doing what he was doing?
Yeah, it's been obviously since the middle of February. There's been a lot of adjustments and change within the staff, and I think guys have stepped up. Several different guys have stepped up. Nick did a great job. Got to deliver some film and some scouting stuff, you know, for the first time, which is a great experience for him. So we've embraced, you know, we've embraced change. I think that's been obvious, and everybody's had to step up and adapt. As staff, players, everybody within the program. So it was good.
Cool. Jake, thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.